Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to keep trucking on with this. Man, sometimes the things that I say. We're going to keep moving on with this Sounds from My Inbox week. Checking out bands that have contacted me and requested to have their stuff reacted to. Today we're going to be looking at Dear Mother, 12 Years in Exile. As is with everything we've done this week, I have no idea what to expect. So this will be interesting. We had some metalcore, which I thought was actually a little bit in the hardcore range, and we've also had some pop rock. So two ends of a spectrum. All right, Dear Mother, 12 Years in Exile. Let's see what's up. Ooh. I'm really digging the heavy rhythmic guitar part, sort of underneath that really sharp electronic sounds. Ooh. Dang, right off the bat, we have a distorted, clean chest and falsetto. Nice harmonies in the vocals. Really like how the vocal line is contrasting what was going on in the instruments. Nice fill to run back into this. Oh, that was a beautiful transition. Keeping me on my toes. Yeah, totally different from the first verse. And we got some fries in there. I'm loving this. Oh, this build-up needs to... That is not what I was expecting. Oh man, I was getting chills. I'm a little upset. Heavy outro. Yep. New section though. All right. Now, see, interestingly, that's what I kind of picture metalcore being. Definitely some heavier elements to it, but still sort of having callbacks to pop ideas, especially in the vocal work. Um, so yeah, that was a real treat for me. I'm sure the poppier vocals are not going to be a huge hit with everybody. I know there's a lot of people in the community which are not big on pop vocals, and that is fine. Everybody has their own tastes. Like I said, though, this was a treat for me. I'm excited to have gotten to hear that. Definitely be checking out more of their stuff. Um, so yeah, I wanna start with that bridge just because it's fresh in my mind, and I want to get it out before I forget about it. So it was a ton of buildup. We had, I think, the guitar and the electronica was raising in pitch. I don't think there was any sort of looping back to sort of a resolution back to the tonic or anything like that. It was just constant builds. The vocals were building both in intensity and volume. He started out with a bit of a whisper, sort of like an airiness, and over the three repetitions, he got more power in the voice. He started to incorporate screams. He was getting higher pitched. Um, and it was all this buildup. And after the first one, I really figured it was just going to be a one and done, and then lead into a sort of traditional metalcore breakdown. Um, that didn't happen though. So at the second loop, I was like, okay, they're going to go for two, and then they're going to slam it down and, get a really large breakdown out of it. And then they didn't. And then we went for a third repetition. I was like, okay, I guess we're going to go for four because three is a weird place to stop. And then after three, they quieted down and prepared to go into the final chorus. Uh, that was a lot of tension to build over what seemed to me a very long period of time, especially since I kept anticipating it to already be over. I had two periods of thinking that it was going to be done. So to me, it was just, I literally got a chill down my spine with all of the tension they were creating. And part of that, because I don't think it was super intense, at least not compared to a lot of stuff we have listened to before that has never really affected me physically like that. But I think it was also that mixed with my personal anticipation and sort of their you know, destroying my expectations. I really thought I had this pegged. A lot of this I called the heavy outro. Um, Although I really should have seen that coming because that second verse was a little bit different. So I did say they were keeping me on my toes, and they did through that bridge as well. But I do wish we had felt the explosion that all of that cooped up energy was really driving towards. Just to let it dissipate felt a little bit of a letdown to me. I don't know if that was done narratively. Maybe there's something in the lyrics that was going on that would sort of make that make sense. However, it seems he's repeating "You won't fail me" there, and that sort of anger and determination. The way he was saying it was angry, but there's also determination in those words. You won't fail me. Uh, I don't know. That's a lot of energy to just give up at that point. I think we could have easily extended the song another minute or so with a really strong breakdown. That could have been like a pre-bridge, if you will. And they could have went into another section. That's just me. Everybody writes songs differently. But I feel like the song's incomplete because of that. There definitely needed to be another section here. And with the way that they do a fantastic job of taking older ideas and sort of reimagining them with slight tweaks, slight differences, I think it would have been really cool to maybe see, a heavier version of the post chorus there. I don't know, slight tweak on that, and then I don't know. The vocalist has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I mean, sure you could have come up with something. Yeah, that's probably my one big criticism for this song, is that it's missing a section, which is kind of weird. I don't find a lot of joy in telling people that they wrote a song wrong. Right? There's no wrong way to write music, and who am I to tell somebody that their art, their vision, their project is incomplete? Um, but yeah, just on a personal level, I feel like there's just something missing. There's a lot of energy that just got dissipated, and it feels like the song got the wind kicked out of it right there at the end. And I think it made the final chorus fall a bit flat because of it. But like I said, that's really my only criticism. So let's get to some positives. First of all, dude's vocal work, right? Um, he has a ton of tricks up his sleeves. He's got a really clean falsetto, right? And it's interesting too because it has a bit of an airiness to it, which I just adore. It is not sort of your pitchy, whiny falsetto. It has a bit of breathiness to it that allows it to breathe a little bit. I think it sounds very nice compared to a lot of falsettos that are commonly used. The dude has a very good distorted clean. He has a beautiful chest singing voice, and then he can pull out a pretty good fry. Um, I think there can be a little bit of work as far as power behind it, but the core technique sounds good, and the dude can only go up from here. So, yeah, yeah, the dude's rocking it. The only thing he can really throw in there is like a growl and maybe like some operatic singing if he wanted to. But I mean, he's already got four styles that he interweaves so seamlessly, and I just love that he makes it look so simple. That's good stuff. The drummer has some really solid fills and also is just a really solid all around metronome dude. And I don't necessarily. I mean, maybe that's not a. Maybe some people might take offense to that. Your drummer's just a metronome. But I think there's a real skill in just sort of, keeping the band anchored, right? I think it's sort of an unpraised job by a lot of drummers. When a lot of people think of their favorite drum patterns or drum ideas, it's usually the really big fills or the more complicated stuff. Like when you look at some prog uh, drummers or like the dude from Meshuggah, like that's what when people think of like amazing drum stuff, that's what stands out to them. So, but drummers aren't always doing that. Aside from Meshuggah, he's just tearing it up constantly. But most bands, your drummer is getting a spotlight every once in a while and being more of just being the center of the band, the heartbeat of the band. And I think that job really does not get a lot of love, and it should. It is not easy to keep everybody in time by having the strongest sense of rhythm in your group. Um, and then enacting that through all of your limbs and just keeping a steady rhythm for everybody to play with. It's an important job that like I said just kind of gets overshadowed a lot. And this dude just kills it. He has some really good drum fills in there. He has some interesting pattern ideas. But he also just does a really good job of keeping the time. And the guitarist, good stuff, man. Uh, I like I mentioned at the beginning. There really isn't a lot of difficulty in the guitar playing, but I like the way that it's composed to juxtapose what's happening with the electronic stuff. There's not always a juxtaposition. They seem to line up a lot when we get to stuff like the chorus, where it's more about sounding big, and the unification of those two timbres really increases the width of the sound, and it helps carry the vocal work. But I do really enjoy some of the rhythmic aspects when they're sort of in contrast with each other, the guitar and um, the electronic aspects, when they're rhythmically in contrast with each other, which we see a lot during the two verses. So really interesting composition work there, sort of like rhythmic counterpoint. I actually see. I've always studied counterpoint as harmony, based, but I wonder if it can be attributed rhythmically based, or if maybe we have a different term for that. Because it's sort of like a hocket, but at the same time, it's not two rhythms coming together to create a single unified melody line. It's more about two opposite rhythmic elements coming together to sort of contrast and um, elevate each other depending on the beat. So yeah, I gotta look up a term for that because if we don't, maybe I should coin one. I do a lot of talking about music, and maybe coining terms should be something I do. I come up with some weird words on the fly as well. So yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff going on in here. Even though it is sort of a standard-ish metalcore feel with almost like some djenty aspects in the guitar work as far as focusing on like super short rhythmic elements. But I think they also put just enough in to kind of keep it fresh, put a spin on it. I really loved how the second verse was so different from the first. I think musically it was fairly similar, but there's a lot of differences in the vocal work, which I think is important when you look at bands like these that really focus in on the vocalist. I think it's always important to have, if you're going to put in some sort of changes to a section, you're going to put some minor embellishments in there or sort of overhaul an entire section. It's always good to do that with the part that's going to be most present in people's ears. And for bands like this, where the vocalist is sort of the center of the band, they pretty much appear everywhere throughout the song. There's not really too many instrumental only sections, and they do get a lot of the spotlight in the mix. That's where you're going to want to put that work. First of all, it's going to be what most people hear. So if you want the song to sound you want some variation to it, you're going to want people to hear that variation, you give it to your spotlight. But also, if you only have the power to make one or two variations, you're going to want to put them in the spotlight. Just because, like I said, you're going to want people to listen to those. Maybe you have the resources to put variety throughout in your entire song, and it's not so important then. But if you've really only got time or skill or whatever to really add one bit of embellishment or variation, you're going to want to do one that's more present. So the guitar or the vocalist is going to make the most sense. So I think they did a really good job choosing the vocalist there. Or maybe it was just the vocalist. Maybe he was writing that part and he's like, yeah, I don't dig it. I got some other ideas, and they're like, okay, but we like the first one. He's like, okay, we'll just roll with it. Each verse will be different. You never know how these decisions come together. But yeah, that second verse was really good about keeping me on my toes, and I should have stayed on my toes, but I didn't. I went flat-footed for that bridge, and they tripped me up. So yeah, I will definitely be checking out more of these guys. They're called Dear Mother. I'll have a link to their, I guess, website. I was going to say Bandcamp. It'll either be their website or their Bandcamp in the description. I'm really digging them. I hope some of you guys liked them. This is where you guys come in. Know I gave you my thoughts. You hit me up with your thoughts. Drop down in the comments if you enjoyed them, if you didn't enjoy them, what you liked about them, how you felt about the different sections. Let me know. There's also a description box with some links adjacent to the channel for the Patreon and the Discord, and like, subscribe, and a bell button. They help out the channel immensely if you could push those as well. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, with yet another sound from my inbox. Until then, you guys stay safe out there. Keep being awesome, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.